Hello everyone and welcome to Board Game Galaxy. I'm Tanya and today we are going to take a closer look at Tokaido Duo, a game for 2 players only, published by FunForge and designed by Antoine Bauza. So, here we are at the Japanese island Shikoku, where each player controls 3 characters that are traveling around, doing different things, and by that collecting points. Game is played in rounds, and on each round these 3 dice are rolled. Each dice represents different characters. So here we have the red die is the pilgrim, the orange die is the merchant, and this olive color die is the artist. So on a player's turn, if a purple player is the first player, I would go first and I would select a die, and the number on the die means how many spaces this certain character would move around. And in the space he lands, he would do action associated for him. So in first turn I would draft a die, then the second player would draft another die, and the third die would go to the first player. And then on the next round, the second player would roll again all 3 die, and then he would have a choice between 3 dice, and going first he would select one, then the purple player another, and the last one would go to the green player again. So game continues in this manner until a certain game end condition is triggered. So let's take a look at our different characters. First we have the pilgrim. This is the board over here for the pilgrim, and this one is our pawn. Pilgrim basically travels around the island visiting these different spaces. So the number on the die, like I said, is how many spaces the pilgrim would move. So in this case he would move 1 space. And then depending on the space he lands on, he does different actions. For example, if he lands on this temple action, he would just move this little peg 1 space. And similarly, if he moves on this scenery action, he would move this green, the other peg 1 space. And this means at the end of the game you will get as many points as it is multiplied. So for example 2 by 2. So the game here can be triggered when either the green peg lands on the last space or the red peg lands on the last space. The next worker placement spot is this icon here. Here you basically get this token that you can use in a later turn for another action. And when you do that action, you just return the token here. If another player would land on this space and there would be no token on a board, he would simply take the token from that player. So you have to be quick about doing another action so it isn't used. The third space is the seaside village space, and if a pilgrim lands here, he would basically get the number of coins that is written here on this merchandise. So each seaside village has associated a different merchandise with a different cost. Next space, I think that is the last different space, would be this one, this seaside one. And here you basically get to select a power, one of the 3 powers that are over here. For example, each power corresponds to different characters. So the first power I would put here on the pilgrim character, and it means that every time I move, I have a chance to move an extra step. Or, well, if it would be on the other side, turned on the other side, I would have a chance to move one less step. And those two powers we will discuss later when discussing the artist and the merchant. And that's it for pilgrim. If a spot would be, let's say, occupied by another player's pawn, he would simply jump over it and continue counting, because on these spaces there can only be one pawn at a time. Okay, so next one we have an artist. So artist is, you know, like a free soul traveling around different areas of the island. So for when you draft his die, he would move 3 spaces, for example, from one area to the other. And in the area he lands, he has a choice. He can either paint a painting or give painting, like gift a painting. So if he would paint a painting, you would basically count the number of pawns that are adjacent to his area and turn that many paintings that you have here on your player board. So if he would be in this area, for example, those are 2 adjacent pawns, and I would turn these 2 paintings. And later, if I would move him again, for example, if it was for 2 spaces, I could move it over here in this area. And as another possibility, I could gift the painting away. So that means that if this symbol on this area is the same as the symbol on the first painting, the left sidemost painting, I could gift it away. That means I would just throw it aside, and here it reveals, underneath it reveals a certain points, and each space is basically a higher count for points. So in the end of the game, I would get as many points as it is written on the last visible one. And the other game end trigger for the artist would be if one player would give away all of the paintings and get to 40 points. And also, so we set the power for the artist. If I choose to take this tile, it would be that this means that if I move along the path, so here for example 2 spaces, 1, 2, and gift a painting, I wouldn't have to give this painting on the last space, but I could start on from the painting from the first space or even the spaces in between. So I'm not as limited in the type of paintings that I can gift away. And then we have the third character, it is the merchant. And the merchant moves through the villages, through these 4 mountain villages or the coastal villages. So if I would draft this orange die for these 3 spaces, I could move 3 spaces. That means 1, 2, 3, for example, to the coastal village, or 1, 2, 3. Basically, he moves on these orange lines. And he also has 2 choices, depends on the village he moves to. If it is a mountain village here in between, he gets to grab 4 items, in this case, from this bag. So let's have a look. This bag have basically these items that are also on these tiles for the coastal villages. So if I have these 4 items, I would give them in his storage area, and he can have at most 5 items in his area. If he would draft more from the bag, he can select to discard the ones he owns and replace them with the new ones from the bag. So he selects merchandise, and then if I were to move him on my next turn on the coastal area, I would have a chance to sell those items from my storage area. So for example, over here I would sell this one fan for 2 coins. Or if I even had more of the same merchandise, like 3, I would get to sell all of them at once. And the deal with the merchant is you are selecting coins, and once you get to 10 coins, you immediately replace them with these gold slabs that you put over here on under his player board. And when you are collecting, at the end of the game, you will get as many points as the last gold slab you have. And also the game end trigger for merchant would be when a player has all spaces, that means 6 gold slabs in his possession, the game would also end. And the power for the merchant could be this one, for example. It means that you would, when you are selling your merchandise, you would get 1 coin per merchandise you sell. Or even if you would draft merchandise from the bag, you would get additional 1. And also you would open a 6th place spot on your player board. So yeah, those are the characters, those are the 3 characters, and that's how they work. And like I said, game will continue in this manner until one of the game end conditions is triggered. Then the round would play till the end, and that would be the end of the game. And in the end, for game scoring would, like I said, for Pilgrim would be the multiply the green and the red pack. That's how many points you will get. For the artist, you would get that many points as the last visible spot from the painting. And for the merchant, you would get that many points that are the golden slabs, so 18 in this example. And the player with the most points would be the winner. So that would be all. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. And also, if you are interested in seeing how this game would play in 2 players, you can watch the next video, which is also in the description below. Thank you, and I will see you at the next one. Bye!